And now you're heading over to part 2 of that episode right over there. Hey everyone, we are back with this is the video only portion. Man, that first segment was absolutely awesome. I'm blown away with the history you have in the EMF world, man. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you, man. This has been a real joy.
Yeah. So, I love asking our guests like what they love to do to be human powered in their own life. So what do you do to be human powered? What's your thing?
Oh, well, I feel like that's such a deep question. I feel like whatever I'm going to answer, it's going to be a letdown. But most recently, I've been spending a ton of time on the beach. Now, I've always been kind of a nature guy. And I lived out by the desert, so I spent a bunch of time in the desert. I lived in the mountains, so I spent a bunch of time in the mountains. I never really got into the beach. And more recently, I've just been in a life where I have these amazing beaches almost right outside my door, and taking these really long walks on I consider them long. For you, it would be.
That's all right. Listen, it's all perspective, right? It's all perspective.
Yeah. But for me, 8 to 10 miles, so we take these really long walks on the beach, and these beaches have basically no one on them. And so we go barefoot. So it's an opportunity to get some real earthing in.
Yeah.
And solitude.
Look at EMF, like nature. Cleansing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So that's really, that's one of the big sources of joy in my life.
Cool. That's awesome. And I think that's an important piece. I interviewed a cardiologist. His name is Dr. Stephen Sinatra, and I'm not sure if you've heard of the name.
No. Well, I've heard the name Sinatra.
Well, Sinatra, of course, but his name is Stephen Sinatra. I don't think there's any relation, but he's very into obviously reducing EMF. He's an integrative cardiologist, so he's not one that really wants to prescribe medication. He's more into the nutrition, into the whole body health, and you creating your own health, if you will. And one of the things he spoke about is exactly what you said. He's like, get your feet on the ground, help your body detox from EMF. Like that's a huge piece of the puzzle every single day you should do. Most people, in New York City, I wouldn't recommend, just walking around barefoot in the city, but most people are not too far from like a public park, like a Central Park or. Yeah,
it's got to be on earth or grass or sand. It's got to be, it doesn't work on the pavement. But one thing that your listeners might not know is that there's actual science behind supporting that this is a very healthy practice. And it is tied directly to helping to undo some of the damage that EMF exposure creates, such as inflammation and oxidation and accumulation of free radicals.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm home. I don't want to lift my feet up here for you, but when I'm home and I walk on our property, play with our dog, I'm always barefoot in the grass, and it's, I definitely think I can't measure it, but I definitely think it's a huge part of what helps keep me healthy. I do it all year round. Like I'll be out in the snow barefoot, not for minutes here. I'm not Wim Hof. I'll be out in the snow barefoot, like just to get some exposure that way anyway, all year round. And I think it will have a huge impact on everybody's life. Like just getting your feet in the grass, it just feels good, or the beach. I mean, who doesn't like to have their feet in sand? I mean, that's, I mean, maybe some don't, but I think it's an amazing thing. I love the ocean and the water. So we got that, we got the grounding. Like what other thing, what are you up to? What is R up to? What's like something cool?
Well, I don't know how cool any of what I do is, but I will say a lot of
people's lives, man. I think that's a very cool, very honorable thing to do. So
thank you. The theme, the thread that has my attention, and I've been covering it on my podcast, the Healthier Tech podcast, which is still relatively new, but we're getting into more production now. So for years I've been working on EMF and communicating and educating on EMF, and we still do a lot of that. But of course, you occasionally will run into walls, people just not wanting to hear it, people not wanting to believe it, certain platforms not even accepting that content on the platform. And so the Healthier Tech podcast was designed kind of as an expansion because I also realized, while EMF is a really serious issue, it's not the only issue that is causing harm to people from technology. And increasingly, you are starting to see this being mainstreamed. That whereas, for years, when you talked about the harm from tech, from EMF, there's a very small market of interest. When you start to expand it now, and this is a change I'd say within even the last year, when you start to talk in terms that tech is harmful, people believe it. They start to relate it to their lives. And you saw last year, big stories around the Facebook whistleblower and how Facebook knows that their products are harmful, and they know several specific ways. But you see it more and more in terms of contribution to depression, people's experience of their devices and digital media. It is harming their mental state. It is harming their physical health. You as a chiropractor must see tons of people with neck issues specifically from how they use their phones.
I'll give you something that, I say this to patients. I'll let you just keep finishing, but I say, what generation iPhone are we up to? It's like, 13. Yeah. And I go, so I'll give you an idea. So there's different layers of structural change. I'll try to keep it very simple, but there's a loss of anatomical structure, which we call phase 1 of degeneration. Then there's actually where joint spaces start to break down. That's what we call arthritis. And I'm seeing arthritis in 11-year-olds, wow, which I never saw before. Why is that? What do kids do all day? They're like this. They have their head down from 2 years old until they're 11. If they come in with a problem, the parents are concerned with their posture because they look like they're 90 years old and they're 11. It's scary. And I will tell you, it won't get better. I mean, we're taught to sit down and have our head down. And then now with tech, like, you're talking about having better tech, and maybe reducing the time in front of this tech would probably be the best thing for kids these days. Like, go out and put your feet on the grass and go run around and scream and yell and have fun.
I totally agree. And so I guess what I'm saying is because I am seeing people actually be open to that idea now, because the level of awareness that tech can be harmful, that tech is harmful, that tech is harming our kids, right? They believe it. I mean, it's true, but they believe it. They're not resistant to it the way that for years people were resistant to the message where it's like, hey, take it easy with the tech. Like, tech is incredibly important. It's incredibly valuable. Yeah. But also take it easy. Now people are willing to listen to that. And I believe they're starting to be willing to modify their lifestyles in ways to reduce their exposure to technology. And so that's, anyway, to answer your question, that's the thread that I've been trying to follow and work with this year. Yeah. And that's new for me.
Yeah. And I think that's really cool. And I think, like, on the other side of the coin, there's technologies out there that can definitely help you modify and help your health. I use different technologies like the Oura Ring, and I have Wear Watch, but I have them always on a Bluetooth off airplane mode. So they're not, when they're on my body, they're not communicating with anything until I plug them in, and they're not on myself. I get the data. And I think the other side, right? We have the detrimental side, but then you can have the holy cow. I can really start to dial in better health, a better lifestyle, a better life, period, by taking care of myself and knowing that what I do every day will have either good impact or a bad impact. And you start to focus, obviously, hopefully, on the good.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, tech, again, I want to be totally clear. I am not a Luddite. I am not anti-tech. And technology not only has improved our lifestyles, it's extended our lifespans. And for many people, it's improved the quality of life. The key is realizing the ways in which it helps you versus the ways in which it's harming you, and taking control of that rather than just engaging with tech because it's there. And these companies, whether you're talking about product companies or service companies, they've just been allowed to run roughshod over our health because of the complete absence of regulation. And again, that was driven by the fact that people weren't applying that kind of pressure. And I think you are starting to see that kind of pressure accumulating in the calls for. In one of the episodes on my podcast this past season, we had a member of parliament on from Europe, and he is leading the charge to make the right to disconnect a legally recognized fundamental human right in all of Europe. And that right it's the right that employers aren't allowed to contact you after work, in essence. And it's already a right in France and in Ireland, and I believe Portugal, and he's trying to make it throughout the entire European Union. Mm-hmm. And that's, I think, a great example of how you're starting to see regulations finally start to catch up with what all this technology has done to our lifestyles.
Yeah, agree. Yeah, people don't unplug from work. I mean, we've the past 2+ years haven't showed us that. I have my patients like, I can't wait to get back into the office. That they were saying that a year ago, whatever it was, because like, I'm like, how many hours you work? And they're like, oh, from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep. Like, I'm on my laptop, my phone. Like, I'm not going outside. I'm not doing anything. I'm just working 24/7. I'm like, that's not healthy. I mean, they get it. So yeah, agreed. I think that's, they can work when they're working, and then they can be taking care of their health and their family and their lives when they're
living life,
not producing that, for the company or for themselves.
Yeah.
It's very cool. So I want to share one thing, and I think this is important. So you were very generous with our audience. We have a 15% off first order coupon code called, it's human powered, as it should be, right? So R has been very generous to offer that. And we'll have the details obviously below here in this post on the website. So R, one more time, best place for people to find, follow, buy, all of the things.
Sure. So shieldyourbody.com. That's shieldYourBody, all one word, .com. And our handle is shieldYourBody on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram.
All right, everybody. Once again, R Blank, Shield Your Body. Check this dude out. I think you're going to love, if you love what this conversation over the past 30, 40 minutes, just go check out the website. Do yourself the littlest favor and get yourself a shield for your phone, because you're probably on it right this very second for the most part. So our brother, been great, bro.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate the opportunity.
So you're still here. Awesome. I want to thank you so much for watching part 2 of this episode. Make sure you scroll down on the page you're on right now and join our tribe of human-powered life heroes. You definitely want to be the first to get information on new episodes, new videos, product launches, live events, affiliate discounts, and so much more. So have a great day, evening, or night, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.